Good, isn't it? Bletchley Park, Codebreakers, Second World War. Area closed.
Well, we haven't chosen that'll be a question. I've got so many. Some are really good. I've got a session with Frank Carter next week just to go through them. Yeah, thank you.
Lovely, isn't that?
But who they put in charge on Tony, he made a right copy.
super cipher machine to talk to his generals. He went to the Lorentz factory and asked them to make it for him, and this is what they did. It's different from Enigma. It's a lot more complicated. It works on a teleproof system rather than Morse code. It has 12 wheels in it, 10 enciphering wheels and 2 motor wheels to move the other wheels around. It had, Enigma had 156 trillion possible settings. This had 1.6 quadrillion. A teleprinter signal, you record it on a piece of tape, looks like this. It has 5 positions, each one equating to a teleprinter letter or whatever. So you've got 5 holes or no holes in the tape, or ones and noughts, as we probably call it in modern computer terminology. Here you would press the letter A, for example, on your keyboard. It would be enciphered, added to the first 5 wheels here, and a third letter would result. That will be added to these 5 wheels here, and yet another letter would result. So it's double enciphered. Very, very difficult to deal with. It was first heard on the radio in 1940, and for months it was impossible to be able to do anything with it, except by a very, very long-winded manual process. They just didn't know what this machine looked like. In fact, they never knew what the machine looked like until after the war. They didn't have a friendly Pole coming along to give them a leg up on this. It wasn't until August 1941 when our old friend human error comes into the picture. A German operator in Athens, the German headquarters in Athens, which had been recently invaded by the Germans. This is what a teleprinter signal sounds like, by the way, when it comes sent by radio. Right. Can you turn it up just a touch? Thank you, that's lovely. Brilliant, thank you. Okay. Thank you, Margaret. He was given the job of sending a message to Vienna. The message was 4,000 characters long, but he was tired, hot, fed up, wanted to go home. So he set up his machine into one of the 1.6 quadrillion possible, told Vienna to stand by, and began typing. At the end of the message, he was even tireder, hotter, and more fed up than before, and his fingers were aching. And Vienna came back to him and said something he didn't want to hear. We missed that, send it again, please. So he's really frustrated. So he starts taking shortcuts. He doesn't reset the machine. He uses the same settings as before, which is a no-no. You should never do that. He begins to abbreviate things in the message as much as he can to save his fingers. For instance, every message would begin with the words Spruchnummer, message number. And he abbreviated the word number to NR. Perfectly good thing to do, but he did that throughout the message, and the second version of the message was only 3,500 characters long. At a place called Rockhold, where they had received this at the Y station there, they realised that something good had happened here. So they sent the tapes up here to Bletchley Park, and the chief cryptographer, a man called John Tilton, got to work. He got the wet towel around his head, and 10 days later he had deciphered that message using these 2 versions. It wasn't a particularly important message, but it did show them that they could break into it. He gave all the information that he gleaned from doing this to another codebreaker called Bill Tutt, who built a machine to actually break the message. So once you've got the settings, you can set this machine up, and I'll show you. So this machine, this is the machine that was used first of all. This is the machine that was built here or a Thomas Hill Post Office research establishment, to be exact, to replicate exactly what the machine did. You'd set it up so it was in exactly the same logical state as that Lorentz machine for that message. And you begin to type in the enciphered version. Changes there indicating the same thing as the wheels going round on the Lorentz. And plain language German would result here on the telephone. Pretty good, eh? But you still had to find which of the 1.6 quadrillion settings that you used. How do you do that? It was taking a team of people 6 weeks to work out the settings for one message. Far too long. They needed it doing within 6 hours for each message. They sent for a man called Tommy Flowers. Tommy Flowers was born in a poor family in London. His father was a bricklayer, and he had taught himself mainly electronics. And he was now one of the leading experts. He worked at the Post Office Research Establishment at Dollis Hill, and he looked at the problem and he said, well, you can't use a bomb like you're using from the Enigma, they're not fast enough. You need electronics to help with this. And he designed what was to be the world's first ever computer, Colossus. And I'm going to show that to you now. What's that? The following books. This is Colossus, the world's first computer. Until the 1980s, the Americans thought they had invented the world's first computer, something called ENIAC in the States, until the information about it was there. But basically, here's your tape that you would have recorded on the telephone signal, coming over the radio. It's loaded onto what's called a bedstead. Again, it was Rains who used to operate this machine, it will load the machine on. Now this was specially designed so that the tape wouldn't break or snap. And it was going around at 30 miles an hour. And every time you hit that tape, it's analysed the whole tape. It does it hundreds of thousands of times. And here is the optical reader reading characters in 5,000 characters per second. Unheard of in 1944. It's now doing a statistical analysis of that tape to find out which of the winning techniques has been used on that day. When it finds out, it prints them out after this machine, and when the 12 wheel settings are found, they go to take the tape off, print it to the floor, and start typing into the camera. And it did it in less than 6 hours. When Flowers brought it here, well, he's totally contacted, I've done it, I've got the machine here at Dollis Hill, they didn't believe it. You can't possibly do it. And so we had to dismantle the machine, bring it here, build it up again, and demonstrate it. So it's really taking it on. Television machines were used in Bletchley Park during the war. This is their number 9 stroke. And this is a rebuild. It's an absolute faithful copy of the original, using all the original parts. Most of it comes from Codebreakers in the Bletchley Park. It was built by the Codebreakers. In 1944, when the first one was built, your average domestic radio, or wireless, what we used to call it, has maybe 1 or 2 valves. The most advanced radar has 6 valves. This has 2,000